Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to another episode of Epic 7, and today we're just gonna do a theory crafting episode. I kind of just want to talk about Mistychain because I've been going over the recent sort of spec change units, and I've really loved half of them, or maybe a third of them, and I've really disliked the other 2/3. And I think Mistychain, not only does it follow the theme of Banshees, but also would fit exactly the kind of role a lot of people need right now. And I think this would be a wonderful choice for the next specialty change unit. So just from my analysis so far, which is pretty much everyone's analysis, it seems like if they take a unit that isn't used and try to make them viable in PvP, it fails miserably. Like, for example, the last one, Carmen Rose, I haven't really seen anybody do anything with that yet, but maybe I'm wrong. Who else here? Wanda, meant for designed for PvP, obviously, with the decreased hit chance and stuff. Basically, they just never really work, especially as 3 stars with 3-star stats. But if you take somebody who's already used and make them better, that's when it seems to kind of shine. For example, somebody like Clury, who is good in both PvE and PvE, is now fantastic in both of those situations. Somebody like Doris, who was good in both as well before. I know a guild member actually used Doris a lot in Guild War offense. She's now infinitely better. So something like that is great. And Chaos Inquisitor, for example, again, another unit for PvP, kind of like definitely meant for PvP. Just like doesn't really do anything. I forget who the others are. Ruzid, kind of the same. Really good unit and did make a bit of a change. Captor Ricorous as well. Kind of designed for PvP again, especially you can tell now that they're giving him stuff like Restrict. So kind of interesting to see how they're approaching this. So this is why I think personally that they should go with Mistychain next. And the reason why Mistychain, just as a reminder, I've used her quite a bit in the past for Wyvern 13 runs. I think she's close to fantastic there. Her skill 1, just to remind everybody, will move my just to remind everybody, her skill 1 heals allies just a little bit, a lot more if she's using Joker. Her Banshee's Curse, 100% chance to unhealable and decrease attack on a 3-turn cooldown, and her skill 3, which is heals damage dealt by heals all allies by damage dealt, and also grants revive to the turn for 2 turns for the ally with the lowest health. So obviously life drain is not really where it's at right now for her, especially for PvP or for PvE. This seems like it's kind of a PvP based ability, which scares me when they're going to approach this specialty change eventually, because that makes me kind of feel they're going to push her into PvP, which is not the way to do it. So let me talk a bit about her first in Wyvern. So number 1, she heals quite a bit. She actually does heal quite a bit if you use her on Joker. It's a ton of healing, and it actually keeps the tank alive without another healer. Really, really good for that. But when you're going that route with Joker, you don't have the debuffs, and then you need another debuff, and then things go too slowly. So if you go the what route, the Sierra Ren route or something like that, to get more debuffs in, you find yourself lacking heals or damage. And if you go the Joker route, she actually does a boatload of damage, by the way, like an absolute boatload of damage with Joker. If you go that route, you're running out of debuffs. So those are the 2 things I want to solve with Mistychain. So obviously her skill 3 would get a change. I would personally find a way to either change this, but that's not something they really do, or make it useful in PvE. So one of the ways you could make it useful in PvE is have what could you do? You could make it so more healing, maybe. No, like how do you make the revive useful specifically in Wyvern? Like, let's be real, the SC should be focused on Wyvern because that's what people really need right now and what a lot of people want. So what you could do here, God, I should have thought this ahead of time. I had ideas in my head, but not specific ideas for life drain. They could tack on something else specifically here, and one of the ways to solve the lack of debuffs is have her extend debuffs. You could have that extended onto life drain or something like that. You could also have it so it grants revive on the target even when the enemy is not defeated. You could also give it a debuff. What else could you do? There's tons of stuff you could do to this to make it better, but that's really not like the star of her show for PvE. Like Life Drain is her skill 3, but really her S2 and her S1 are really like what kind of adds up. So what I would like to see in her kit is some way to extend debuffs or add debuffs onto her kit. For example, Vampirism right here, ability to add Vampirism to the boss, for example, instead. Maybe that's what we could put on Life Drain. If the target doesn't die, give it the haste Vampirism lifesteal buff, which would help immensely, not only for a debuff count but also for stability. You could make this extend debuffs by 1 turn, maybe a 50% chance or something like that, so it's not super OP, but then again, you're relying on 50% chance and then 15%, so maybe that wouldn't be good enough. And if you added one of those two things, like just having a single debuff on her skill 3 is really the key, because you often find yourself, the way the turn order goes, starting out the first wyvern or wyvern turn with like her skill 3 into her skill 1, or her skill 1 into her skill 3 into her skill 2, and by that time you're missing all the points for debuffs, for example, right? You've seen that in the videos I've done, and I've seen that just so many times autoing. And as for her skill 2, I think her skill 2 is fantastic. I don't know what they could add to this, because honestly, this is just an amazing skill 2 specifically for Wyvern. 100% chance on both debuffs. Again, they could make it so this attaches Vampirism as well. Maybe like all of her abilities have a chance to land it. And that way, with that additional, you could add in a Joker, and you would be doing boatloads of damage, be healing boatloads as well. And I just want her to work. I want to use her in Wyvern 13. That's really what this all is. This is just me being like, hey guys, I really want to use Mistychain again, but she's just not consistent enough. So that would be nice. Also, she has a crit imprint, I just noticed, so perhaps extra if you crit, which would be great. They could also give her stuff in the vein of the recent units we had, where they have extra stats against earth. This could have extra stats against fire, which will allow her to, for example, if they give her the effectiveness, would allow her to do that, and you could get these debuffs here without any effectiveness. So this is just me rambling. I didn't know what to do for a video, and I just wanted to talk, you know? I just wanted to talk. And as for the other 3 stars here, let's take a look. Specifically, I'm looking for something to solve PvE problems, which is why I was looking at the Mistychain, and then she fits the same with the Banshees they've been doing recently. I know a lot of other people would like to see somebody like Celeste just specifically for PvP, but I don't think that's what we need right now. Outside of that, the only other real option for ice is the good old Jenna. I have her plus 15, or maybe not plus 15, but I have her skill 1 maxed. This is another thing you could really find a way to get working. You would have to super major change her skill 2 and skill 3 to like triple the rate at which stuff happens, give it some damage as well, and then she might actually be useful there too. So that's another one of my options. I'm not going to go into what I think they should do, but I think it's pretty obvious that she needs a huge boost, especially since like her skill 2 and skill 3 just don't do anything off half the time. So yeah, that's going to be it. I just wanted to talk today. I hope that's okay. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always. And there will be a Guardian Tales video out in like 7 hours when the banner comes up there, and I'm really excited for it. So have a great day. Bye, everybody.